Hello, welcome. We're super excited to have you with us today. So my first question is I kind of want you just kind of give like a little brief overview of yourself since we've never gotten to chat with you before.
So my name is Tiara Thomas. I'm a singer-songwriter from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm living out in LA now, but I got started singing when I was I'd say about 12, singing and playing guitar. And I really got serious about writing music and stuff when I was in college. And from then I started, my first placement was with a rapper named Wale.
Mhm.
And from a song that I wrote in college, and he used it for his single, and it turned out to be like this big song. So that's how I got my start in the music industry. And then since then, I've been writing music for other artists, not a bunch of other artists, but more particularly, I did a lot of writing with her, and we had a lot of success with some things that we did. And so yeah, now I'm just on my own vibe and excited to put out my own music and just really get back to, my artistry. I've been really experimental these past few years, just while I've, kind of been off of the scene. And so I'm really excited for people to hear what I've been working on.
And we are excited to hear it too. So kind of first off, I want to just say congratulations because 2021 was a massive year for you. Um,
Thanks. Yes.
you got a Grammy and an Academy Award for songs that you had a part in, and it's just like, oh, incredible. And so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So I would love to learn more about like the process behind those songs and kind of like how you felt when you heard and where you were at and all that kind of stuff.
You're talking about the Grammy and the Oscar song?
Mhm. Yes.
So for I Can't Breathe, it was a crazy time. I mean, 2021 was just a crazy year, it's the pandemic, and then, Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, and the climate was just so heavy, and around that time, around George Floyd, I was actually shopping for looking for a place to live because I was about to move. And she had hit me up and asked me if she was like, hey, can we FaceTime later on? And I just like kind of want to get out some ideas about what's been going on in the world. And so we actually wrote I Can't Breathe on FaceTime. And she just wrote it on, she was playing her guitar. I think she was at her mom's house. And yeah, so I don't know. I didn't even know if the song would like come out. I don't know. I just thought, that we were just like, sometimes as artists and writers, you just want to get out, what you're feeling. And so I heard it maybe a couple weeks later, and it had been produced out with D Mile did the production. And we put it out. I love the way the song came out. I feel like it was something that needed to be talked about and something very current for the moment. And so yeah, I never expected for us to be nominated for a Grammy or even win a Grammy for that matter. So for Song of the Year. So I was like, that all came as such a surprise, but so yeah. And then for the Academy Award song, actually, for it was called Fight for You. It's called Fight for You from the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. And her and I were actually already working on her album. So we were already really in the studio, the same studio daily, working on her album. And they wanted her to do a song for this movie. And so she was like, hey, can you come to the studio tomorrow and we can watch this movie called Judas and the Black Messiah and write a song for it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we sat in the studio and we watched the movie. And yeah, that was my first time, all of our first time hearing the story of Fred Hampton from the Black Panthers. And we were just like, whoa, this is crazy. And just like, happy to be a part of it. And so we listened to a bunch of Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield and got inspiration. And that's where we got the inspiration for that song. And that's the song that won the Academy Award. So it's cool, very cool. Like I can't even like couldn't have even thought this stuff up that this stuff was ever gonna happen. An Oscar, that's like Leonardo DiCaprio status.
Well, no, it's incredible, and it's something that you're gonna be able to kind of hold with you for like the rest of your life. You're always gonna kind of remember that time and being like, yes, there was a lot of like really just not great things happening in the world, but you guys created this art out of it, and it's beautiful, and there's a reason why it won. So it's
Yeah.
just like, and you're always going to be able to remember that and take that on with you. And I think it's so beautiful that you guys created songs that just, I don't know, it just resonates with people.
And
So
I think it's important, like that's an artist's job, you know, an artist and songwriters to reflect the times, you know, reflect what you're going through. And I think it would be kind of crazy if we, you know, as artists, when you're sitting there and all this stuff is going on in the world that's affecting you and affecting people around you, and like, you know, you kind of have something to say about it. And so
mhm,
I just feel like that's our job as artists. And then, you know, the rest of the stuff that comes after that is just, you know, you never know.
mhm. No, I agree. I think because even some songs that I listened to growing up, like I can kind of go back and be like, I remember the time that that came in, and it's just, it's like a timestamp. And I think it's just so
Yeah.
great that you guys have this,
Nostalgia.
yeah, and you guys have this creativity that you guys can put out these songs that we have timestamps on the world. And I think it's personally beautiful. I love kind of going back in time and being like, wow, like, yeah, that was happening back then. Like,
Yeah, that's what I do. Like I think about like there's like very specific songs that I think about, and I'm like, these songs came out when I was in college, and you know that was just like such a fun time in my life, and so I'm like that love those songs simply because I remember like parties and stuff, and just driving around in my car in college and stuff, and listening to those songs. So it's cool.
definitely, definitely. So I kind of want to kind of stay along the same lines, but like you've gotten to write with and for a ton of just like legendary artists. So Mary J. Blige, John Legend. So when you go into the studio, what kind of mindset are you in when you're writing for others versus when you're writing for yourself? Or is there even a difference?
There's definitely a difference because with myself, like when I write my own music, it's very like personal to me. Like I'm involved with like the production, how I want certain things to sound. And then obviously like some artists like they don't like curse, they don't like to curse heavy, you know. Sometimes I just like be snapping in my songs. So really it really is based off of the artist and what the artist wants to do. I've worked with like an array of different artists. I've gone in studio and worked with literally had never written a dance song and went into the studio with an artist and wrote a dance song. And it's really just, and I just try to like when I go in the room, I just try to make sure I have like just an open mind and good energy, like because I know how it feels to be an artist and you're going in there and you're creating with someone, so you really want everybody to just be like, I'm always very open. Like I ask them, what do you want to write about, like what's going on in your life, like you know, what kind of music do you like to listen to right now, what kind of vibes are you looking for, you know. So I'm always very open to, you know, what kind of stuff the artist wants to do, because that's how you make something special. It's like their vibe mixed with your vibe. And then so usually when I write with an artist, you can kind of like tell when my vibe be mixed in there a little bit. So, but yeah, when I go in for myself, I just like, I'm a lot more experimental, I think. Um, just because you know, sometimes other artists they want a specific type of song. They want to like a specific R&B song or a dance song or a slow song or whatever. So when I go in the studio for myself, I'm just like, all right, what am I gonna do today? And just see what I come up with.
No, I love that because you're kind of getting, when you have those two sides of yourself, you're kind of getting to hone in on different aspects of like your creativity and your art.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you get to be a little bit more creative when you are by yourself because you know it's for you. But then the other side of it, you get to kind of play and dabble with other genres that you might not have done yourself because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, like this person wants the dance track. And like, it's like, I would never release a dance track.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like that's what makes it fun, and it really helps you grow too as a
Mhm.
songwriter. I feel like that's one of the things. Like in the last few years, I feel like I've grown as far as you know, a more elevated sound. Growing up in Indiana, like we don't have a sound. You
Mhm.
know, like places like the Bay Area has a sound, Houston has a sound, you know, New York has a sound, Indiana, they don't have a sound. And so I got my sound and inspiration from just like a huge array and different Elton John, Lauryn Hill, Kirk Franklin, gospel music, Tupac, uh, all 90s music, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, literally everything. I found inspiration from everything, and all that stuff inspires me. So that really does help me when I go into another room and I'm able to like jump in someone else's world. Country songs. I wrote country songs over the pandemic, and it was mad fun because I was like, I love country music. And so yeah, it's you're right. Yeah, I go in the studio and I just am able to kind of take all those different aspects and just do whatever I want. I don't have in mind like, oh, I want to write an R&B song today. I just go in there, I'm like, I just want to make something dope today. And that's actually how Don't Talk Back came about. My new single that's dropping on Friday. So
Yeah, so speaking of, that was my next question. The reason why we're here is Don't Talk Back is releasing. So without getting too personal, unless you would like to get personal, you're more than welcome to. What does the song mean to you?
well, Don't Talk Back it's fun and edgy, and it's like sassy, and it's like kind of like raunchy a little bit. And it's really just, I just love that phrase of don't talk back. It's just so like, you know, it's like you're in your bag, you know, like whatever bag you're in. And so many people can use it in different context, and you know, in different contexts of like don't talk back. You know, it could be, oh, I'm feeling myself. Oh, I just bought a house, don't talk back. Oh, I just, you know, whatever, don't talk back. Oh, I just got my credit score up, don't talk back. Literally, it could be anything. Or you could be talking to your kids, like, don't talk back. You know, it's means it's like, so it's a very powerful, sassy statement. And that's kind of like, you know, my personality. I'm very like sassy and edgy and kind of like bossy like that. And so yeah, the song is a fun song and it's sexy, and it's basically, you know, talking about like, you know, having, the actual song is talking about having control of someone in like a literal sense. But don't talk back, it can mean like so many different things, you know. It's just like kind of like, you know, a flex or a, you know.
No, I like that. I think it's gonna be able to reach a broader audience because it is kind of like anyone can relate it to anything. And I think that's what's so beautiful about music is you might have a very specific meaning for your song and why you wrote the song, but when others are listening to it, we kind of put it into our own lives and we're like, no, this is what it means to me. And it could be
Yeah.
completely different from like, you're like, I didn't write it because of that.
Yeah,
But
because the writing, I mean, it's very like simple. It's just like
Mhm.
sexy. You're talking to someone like, oh, I'm gonna take off all your clothes, don't talk back, you know. But
Mhm.
seriously, when you're like sitting there at work, maybe, and you're like, you know, your boss is getting on your nerves or something, or you're getting these emails that are, you know, people are getting on your nerves in the emails, and you like want to say something like, wow, don't talk back vibes, you know, like it can mean whatever you want. And I love that about putting music out into the world, that, you know, people can interpret it however they want and they can apply it to their own life. Like that's what I do when I listen to people's music. And so, you know, you don't have to take it in the sense that's in the song. It could literally be, you know, parents going around singing that to their kid with a smart ass mouth, you know.
Mhm. No, definitely. So you've mentioned that you are kind of involved in the production side
Mhm.
of the music. And so something that's super fascinating to me, because I'm not a songwriter, I'm not a musician. I just love music and I love writing about it and I love meeting people and talking about it all the time. Um, so my production is just something that like fascinates me because
Okay.
my ears don't, I hear the production elements, I don't know what they're called, I don't know anything about it, but like it just fascinates me because I'm like, how do y'all put this production on these
It's
songs?
so cool,
Because
right?
sometimes I'm like, that drop, where did it come from?
Uh-huh.
Like, what are you
And
doing?
sometimes, you know, when you just feel something, like you can feel the bass, you're like, man, this feels good. Like, what is that even
Mhm.
called? It's probably the 808 if that's what you hear.
Yeah, yeah.
An 808 or a bass or a kick. But yeah, like you don't have to know, like me personally, I can point out every single sound in a song, like down to the cymbal, like all the rhythms, everything. I literally, because when I listen to songs, I listen to them like 100 times, and each time I listen for something different in the song.
Mhm.
And but that is cool though, for people that are just lovers and consumers of music, that they just listen to it, and you can't quite name like, oh, these are the cymbals, or these are the hi-hats, or oh, they're playing the kick with the 808, but you just feel like, oh, this makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people to feel like when they hear this song, because like there is a lot of like intricate production going on, and I don't expect everyone to know like, oh, this is that, but you can feel it.
No, definitely. I got to hear just a little bit of it, and that's
Oh,
kind of what got me on it. I'm like, there are so many production elements. Don't know what they're called at all, but I'm just like, I know
yeah,
that's what they are. And I'm just like,
yeah.
oh, it's so incredible. And it just like it makes you feel like something. And it's just like I don't, and that's what I love about music so much, is it's not just about the writing, it's not just about the words and the melodies. It's, you can put these production elements pretty easily on these tracks now with technology.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just like, oh, oh my gosh, like I
Yeah.
don't know how you guys think of these.
Hopefully this is something that Don't Talk Back makes people do that. Let me go listen to that again, because it's a pretty short song, and it's like when you're hearing it, it's just like, you know, you're feeling something and then
Mhm.
it's over. So hopefully it'll make people run it back a bunch of times.
Oh
And
yeah, definitely. Because even I listened to it like twice over. I was like, oh wait, what? Like, oh,
dope,
that was cool.
dope, dope.
But yeah, so staying with production. So what is one thing that you've learned about production, just being in the room with producers that you've worked with in the past?
Hmm. I learned something, but I feel like it's so technical that if I try to explain it, it's going to be like so nerdy. So I'm trying to think of something else. I'm trying to think of something else. Um, well, one thing I have learned production wise, I do think it's an interesting concept to, because what I used to do a lot was I used to get beats a lot, like receive beats from different producers, and then I would write songs over those beats. And what I realized is it does limit me a little bit in the writing process, because sometimes when you get these beats, they already have a melody in the beat. Like the keyboard already has a beat, or it has the keyboard already has a melody, or there's like a flute that already has a melody, and you're kind of like forced to follow what the song is doing, and as you're not as free to write whatever you want as if you were to start the song from scratch. So what I've noticed about myself is I think I work a lot better starting music from scratch, unless I hear a beat that is pretty empty. I like beats that's just like an 808 and like a kick, something that's very, very simple. So I can do my thing, whatever I want to do, go anywhere melodically that I want to go with it. And then maybe after the fact, the producer can go in and produce based off of what I just sang. So that's one thing that I learned about myself in the last few years, just with kind of getting off a little bit of just like receiving tracks and then writing to beats. Unless I hear a beat that's like undeniable, I'm like, oh, that's crazy, and like, oh, that sounds like something I would want to build from, like I would have built from scratch, or that I would have liked to have seen built from scratch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think it's something that's something that you kind of learn as you're growing in your artistry is,
Yeah.
I think it's really beautiful that you have, and you're kind of at that place where you're like, I know myself. I know that I really want to start from scratch, and I want to
Yeah.
know like this is my body of work. And then we
Mhm.
put production elements on the back end, and that kind of, yeah. So
Exactly. It's like a custom made song,
mhm.
and you can have everything exactly how you want it. You could like every note exactly how you want it, every hit, so I found that I like to create it. I think the process is a little more fun that way. It takes a lot of time, I feel like, because like you said, sometimes when you're listening to a song and it sounds like, man, this beat is really good, well, probably somebody put like a sweat drop was falling down somebody's head, putting that together. So I really just appreciate all those little intricate details. And I feel like you get that best when you just like, create with someone from scratch.
Mhm. No, definitely. And I think each person in the room when you're writing a song is just super key. Like your producer, like they are artists in their own right. Like they are incredible, that their
Yeah.
ears are just that good that you can verbally tell them a beat and they're like, I know what you're talking about. And then like
Literally,
and I'm just like, how do you do
yes.
this?
No, literally, it's a skill. I do that all the time because sometimes even I don't know the exact like term for something. So I'll say to the producer, I'll be like, okay, this is gonna sound so crazy, but can you do this? Um, dun, 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 dun. And he'll like know exactly like, okay, he'll go over there his computer and do whatever I just did. And I'm like, yes, like I love when, and the producer that did this song, Ron Gilmore, that I actually, this actually happened with us. The bass that you hear in the beginning of the song, we just started with that bass, that doom, 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 doom. We just started with that. And then he's like, all right, where should I go with it? I was like, you know what? You should do the kick like, dun, 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 dun. And it's like weird because that's not something that Ron doesn't produce songs like that. And that is a very dance type kick pattern. And it really does change the trajectory of the song once you add that type of kick pattern. And so we added that kick pattern. And then from there, we were like, dang, that's dope. And then we just started layering on other stuff. But yeah, sorry, I go on a tangent about like production stuff because like I'm a super nerd when it comes to that. Cause like truly producers, and I mean, I'm talking all producers are, talented in their own right, but there's really something about producers that are very musical and they're like freaks. They're musical freaks. And the guy that I did this song with, Ron Gilmore, he's a super dope producer. And yeah, he killed it.
No, I love that. I'm like nerdy in that way, and the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know there's
Yeah.
something there. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, it's so cool. And
I
I
love
love
how you love it though.
no, and it's just like I love music. I really do. I love everything involved in music, even songs that I'm not super fond of. I see the beauty in because I'm like, there's a reason why this is here right now. There's a reason why this artist is creating in this way. It's either them learning about themselves and learning the style that they like, or it's just the genre. Because I'm not super fond of all genres, but I like you usually like my friends will put a song in front of me and they'll be like, do you like this? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, like it's not my favorite, but like it's good. Like I like it.
That's good. We need more music listeners like you in the world, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because you like, even like you just said, like you don't know like everything that goes into it, but when you hear a song, like you appreciate it for what it is. Like an artist put that out. And that's one way I think I've grown as an artist. I kind of don't like when some of like the older head artists, they'll say like, oh, this music is trash, this new music is trash, this new music is whatever, blah blah. And it's like, yo, I like I like a lot of the mumble rap stuff. I like a lot of just because I mean, no, it's not the deepest thing in the world, it's not going to change the world, but this artist, like he was feeling himself like when he was making this, or maybe it's not to change somebody's life, but it's just to make somebody feel good, or just for when somebody's getting ready for work or getting ready for a party, they feel good, or they they feel good about themselves, or they just like the way the beat, it's I appreciate so much about so much different kinds of music, so I wish like people weren't such like, music snobs sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's so important that people aren't as snobby with it. Is it's because yes, times are different. Like this is not the normal, this is not the music I grew up listening to.
Yeah.
Like there's so many incredible music coming out. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming at times because there is so much. We have social media that we can push songs out just
Mhm.
at a drop of a hat. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, like I recorded this last night in my bedroom and here it is.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh my God, incredible. Like
That's kind of crazy though, because it's like people, yeah, I don't know how many songs come out a day, but I know it's a lot. And
oh, it's
so
a
we're kind of
lot.
living in a climate now where people are just pumping out
Four
content.
thousand 4,000 songs a day on Spotify.
Wow. Okay. There you
Yeah.
go. 4,000 songs a day on Spotify. And just like you said, somebody could just go make something in their closet and then, put it out. So it's crazy. There's a lot of music to discover out there. you know, and a lot of different kind of vibes, which is, you know, why I don't kind of like the R&B is dead conversation. Cause it's like, I mean, you just gotta look for it. And like Brittaney, like music lovers like you'll look for it and you'll discover artists, you know, so that's what I need, fans like that. I like fans
Well,
like that.
that's what I love about like working with the Honey Pop is we get press releases day in and day out, even from like people who don't have a publicist. They'll send us their track and be like, hi, like I'm super new to the industry. Like I just wrote this song and I'd love if you, and we listen to every single thing that comes in our inbox. Like that's
Wow.
how dedicated we are. Like some of it's not the best, but and we don't have time to cover everything, but we listen to every single thing because we're just so honored that people are wanting us to like cover their tracks and their music, because it's just such a, I don't know, we're just music lovers here, like we
People
just
see that you're music lovers, that's why they send you their stuff.
yeah, and so we're just like I love it. I mean, it's overwhelming at times because I'm like, wow, like this one Friday I'm like, oh stop, like so many people are releasing stuff. I was like, guys, there's too much good music out there.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's
Like
a
we're
lot.
only a couple people. We don't have time to like,
Yeah,
so
I
we
feel
usually
it.
put things on playlists and stuff like that. But it's like, oh, it's just incredible. Like music is just so beautiful. And that's why like getting to do these kinds of interviews with people that I might not have known or we're super familiar with is because I get to learn about your process. I get so you've released EPs in the past, kind of throughout. Is there how do I word it? Is there, do you have plans to release like a full length album, and what do you think that would look like for you?
Yeah, so we're working on that. I really wanted to make sure I got music out this year, you know, before the year was up. So I think we really want to spend some time, you know, with this single and probably drop something else, another single, and then probably at some point next year, early next year, drop a project. So I've got a lot of songs that I've been working on. So we're just at this point, we're just I guess trying to figure out what order we're gonna put things out. You know, Don't Talk Back is really just, you know, we're just like, you know, gonna come out and kind of slap people in the face with this one and then, you know, see where we're gonna go from there.
No,
But
that's
we've
cool.
got the songs. We've got the songs. We've got a second song. There's a lot of songs that we can interchange out for another song to drop, you know. So and in the process, because I'm an artist and artists don't know when to like stop recording music, I'll just be recording until then. And if I come up with, you know, some other stuff that I love in the process, and that will probably be stuff that goes on the album as well.
No, it's good. Because like when we're listening to albums and stuff, it's you usually get to live with the song a lot longer than we do.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I know people who have like released an album and they're like, I'm just ready to release the next one. Like
And
I've
yo,
lived with this for 2 years. Like you
you be
just got it.
so over it. Like I've heard this song, Don't Talk Back, and I tell you, because like I love the song, but I've listened to this song, like, man, I mean, I'm still not worn out, still not worn out yet, but I have listened to the song every day for quite some time, many times a day. And so yeah, I know that feeling when you've burned out on a song, but I keep getting excited about this one because it's just so fun, it's cool, and it's different. And I'm excited for people to hear it. So I think that's, you know, what's keeping me like mad excited. Just like, listen to my song, guys.
No, I'm super excited. I'm super excited for it to release. We're gonna have like the link down below and everything so people can go check it out. But for our last question, is there anything that you want to plug for the Honey Pop viewers to go check out or anything?
Well, obviously, I would like to plug my new single, Don't Talk Back. And then also, it would be cool if people went and checked out my other projects. I'm sure a lot of people, it's a kind of a different genre that I'm used to doing. So I'm sure it will reach different people and they'll be introduced to me for the first time. So it'd be cool if they would go on Spotify or Apple Music and check out my other projects. I have a acoustic EP called Don't Mention My Name, and that's fire. I put that out in 2017. I have another project called FWMM and another one called Up in Smoke, and they're all different vibes. So yeah, it would be cool if you guys went and checked those out because yeah, I snapped on those as well.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It was so
Thanks for
good to meet
having
you.
me.
And I just love learning about kind of your background and where you are now and all that kind of stuff. And so definitely all of your links are going to be down below, and we'll be pushing it out for everyone to go and
Thank you
follow
so
you
much,
and
Brittany.
listen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.